Dale Beaumont and welcome to Get Published TV. This is the only dedicated show on the internet to help authors and aspiring authors to write, publish and market their own best-selling book. Now in today's episode we're going to talk about the tools of the trade as an author, and that is your laptop computer, or maybe not a laptop, a desktop computer. So we're going to talk about in future episodes a bunch of things with regards to computers and technology. We're going to talk about what the differences between getting a PC versus a Macintosh. We're going to talk about different software programs that you can use for writing, different ones for editing and proofreading, and other software programs for layout and design. So we're going to talk about that in the future, but right now I want to talk about the debate between whether you get a laptop computer, which is one that I'm holding in my hands right now that's actually portable, versus a desktop computer. Now a desktop computer is normally one that's much bigger and it sits at a fixed location, either normally your home or your office. Now I want to look at the differences between both and to make sure that you are working with the right tools in order to write more effectively. Okay, bit of a repetitious there of the word right, but I'm sure you're following me. Now the reasons why to have a desktop very quickly are they are in a fixed location. Now that can be a disadvantage, but it's also an advantage because a lot of people like to have a separation between work and play, and by having their computer at a fixed location they're forced to step away from work. Some people like that. Other people like the fact that they're having a desktop is normally more powerful in the way of more memory and also faster processor speed. And the other reason to have a desktop computer, which is very key, is it's got a much larger screen as well, which sometimes helps when you're writing, and especially when you're proofreading or checking your book before it actually goes to the printer. I'll come back and talk about that more in just a sec. The obvious advantage with having a laptop computer instead is that it's portable. You can take your laptop computer with you anywhere you go. And if you're traveling in the air, or you're at a coffee shop or restaurant and you've got some spare time, or if you're working between two locations as I am, home and office, having a laptop has a lot of advantages. Now some people have two machines. They have both a laptop for work and where they can travel, and also a desktop computer at home. Now as a writer I found that to be a bit challenging, because what would happen is I'd work at home on my desktop computer, I then have to save the file onto a disk or a USB stick and then transfer it to my laptop so I can get a productive day's work done. And sometimes if I forgot to do that, I'd kind of have to either rewrite some of those sections or just put that aside and work on something else. And I found that a bit frustrating, having my work in two different locations, because you always want to have the most recent version on the computer that you're actually working from. So I chose to only have one machine, and I made the decision because I really want to be portable to work with a laptop. So some people would prefer that, some people don't. But what I have realized is that there is a happy medium where you can get the best of both worlds, which I'll go through and explain right now. And here's what I've done, because I was happily working away on my laptop, and that was what I do. I'd take it to work, I'd work on my book, I'd go home and I'd be working on it all the time. However, it was actually my typesetter named Simon Patterson that was watching me work, and he said, Dale, did you realize that you're spending maybe 20 to 30% of your time actually scrolling when it comes to writing your book or going back and checking certain sections, because you can only normally fit a certain section of the page and you can see it on your computer screen. So I was only able to see about that much of the actual page, so I was never able to read a full page. I could only read a section and I had to scroll. Now what he was saying to me is you're losing a lot of time, and you could become 20 to 30% more efficient if you worked off a larger screen. Now I said to him, look, I don't want to go back to a desktop computer because I'm not portable, I'm not mobile. And he said, well, what you can do is you can actually plug in your computer to a flat screen, not actually a whole computer. You don't actually need the body of the computer, all you need is the actual big screen. So that worked really perfectly for me, because when I'm at home, which is where I work a lot of the time, either in the morning or late at night for the last couple of hours, what I actually do, all I do is I get home, and I turn on my laptop computer, open it up, and I plug in a cable with my big screen. It's about 17 inches or something like that, but actually probably bigger, maybe 25 inches. It's about this big, if you can work that out. And I just plug it in, and then immediately I've now got two screens. I've got my big screen here, and I've actually got a separate type keypad. So I work off this keypad, and I have my book that I'm actually working on in front of me. It's a nice big screen, therefore I don't have to do as much scrolling. I can read an entire page without having to use the mouse, which is great for me. But the other good thing is I've got the benefit of having a second screen. Now clearly this is much smaller, so what I do is I put my email on this, because what normally happens is if you're just working on a laptop and an email comes in, you have to actually close down the window where you're writing and then check the email. But with this, I've got my main book that I'm working on here, and then I've got my email here. So I can be working away and I hear a noise if an email comes through, I look down, and if it's not important, I just keep going back to my work without having to lose my train of thought. So that has been really, really handy. And then when I'm finished, all I do is just close down my computer, and then I pick it up and I just unplug the cord, and then I can take it anywhere I go. But then this is actually my computer right here. So my book is always in one location, not two different locations. Now what I've done is I've added another element to this as well, is I have another cord, and this is getting a little bit technical. One plugs into my big screen, another one plugs into my external hard drive, and I have a little program that I use to back up my entire book, my entire hard drive, and I click a couple buttons, and then every maybe 2 or 3 nights I back up my entire computer, and that box sits at home and it doesn't travel with me wherever I go. So that is my setup. It seems again some very simplistic, or maybe not that important, but it is really important, because if you can get an extra 10, 20, 30% more efficient with how you use technology, that's going to make a dramatic impact on your success as an author. It means you can write more, or you can spend more time marketing and promoting your book, or more time with your family and friends actually enjoying life, which is what it's all about. So I would highly recommend, if you have work off a laptop, great. Invest in a screen. I think it cost me about $600, $700. I work off an Apple Mac computer, but my screen is through Dell. So Dell have very cheap screens that are very good. So I think that they're anywhere between $500 to $600. Prices are always coming down. So go to the Dell website in your country and invest in a screen, and that just plugs straight in, and then you got the best of both worlds. Because then when you're reading your book, I can actually see 2 full pages. So if I'm rereading certain sections or chapters, that is what I can see, my entire 2 pages there without having to scroll. Then all I do is click a button, and then it just goes to the next page. And what I have to do is obviously check the entire book before it goes to the printer. And there's obviously 2 ways of doing that. One is to print the entire book off when you've got a wad of paper that big, or you can do it on your computer screen, which obviously saves a lot of paper. So I prefer to now do it on my screen. But having the flexibility of a bigger screen has made a dramatic impact. So thank you to Simon Patterson for sharing with me that tip. Revolutionized my home life and efficiency. So I hope you've got some value out of it as well. If you've got some ideas or thoughts, please head to the comments area on getpublishedtv.com. Leave us your comments or questions, and we look forward to talking to you again on the next episode of Get Published TV. Thanks for watching.